Hello friendos and randos, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about the newly released ST12 Sanji and Zoro leader, and let's get right into it. The box looks really good. As you can see, I've already opened it. It is a different size from the usual boxes that they give you, but let's hit right into the deck profile. So you can see the leader card over here. Very pretty as it shows on the box. I've already put it in the case. It is both Sanji and Zoro, of course, slash strike. I mean, sorry, slash and strike, not slash strike. And its effect is, again, Dawn times 1 when attacking, once per turn. Return one of your cost 2 or higher characters to your hand, and then after that, you may set up to one of your power 7,000 or lower characters as active. So basically, it's like a restand, kind of tuned into your leader ability. And basically, you're also paying 3 Dawn to restand, so kind of like Kit. So you're paying 2 to have that 2 cost character on the board, as well as 1 Dawn on the leader in order to use the effect. So I do have the deck already built. Let me spread it out for you and show you why I'm picking these cards. So here we go. And here's the deck list that I've prepared for the Sanji and Zoro leader. So you can see it's focused really on the 2 cost restand mechanic very heavily. So you can see I'm running a total of 24 2 cost units, and quite a few of the new cards from the starter deck as well. And of course you can see the spicy Secret Yamato from OVO1 that you haven't seen in a while. And I have one other card that I wanted to keep as a surprise for later. But let me review and talk about each of the cards individually first, starting with the big beaters in the deck, which is this main 12, as well as Doflamingo. Okay, so we'll start off with the highest cost here. We have the 10 cost Doflamingo. We're running 3 copies at the moment. And of course, Doflamingo's ability is on play, you may choose up to 3 of your opponent's rested characters, and next refresh phase they can't be set as active. So it's a stun. It allows you to continue hitting with your board, and also preventing your opponent, of course, from attacking you or attacking your board. I think this slot is also able to be swapped with 8 cost Kit as a reasonable option, because 8 cost Kit would also allow you to play down one of your 3 costs like Mihawk or Ivankov, and then also allow you to play down one of your 2 costs. And then you can also use your leader ability still. So 1 Dawn on the Kit, 1 Dawn on the leader ability, and the 8 cost Kit would be able to play down a 2 cost by resting it, and you would still be able to restand your leader. So that's another option I'm going to consider testing as well. But for now, I wanted to try the 10 cost Doflamingo first. I think 10 cost Doflamingo especially is really good in beatdown related decks too. So it does let you focus on really just hitting face. Alright, next we have the new card here, the 4 cost Zoro. This Zoro's effect is Dawn times 1 when attacking. You may rest an opponent's 6 cost or lower character. So this is pretty relevant, especially in the current meta against Uta, against Law, and against Sakazuki. You'll be able to hit, and Purple Luffy, of course, you'll be able to hit any of their blockers. And after that, you can still restand and then use it to hit again, to hit for a 7k with your Zoro, or you can even add more Dawn onto him after. So I feel the Okiku-esque effect is really strong as well. Alright, next we have the 2 cost Sanji. The 2 cost Sanji is actually a very key attacker in this deck. The reason being is that for 2 Dawn, he can be up to a 7k body. So his effect is Dawn times 1 when attacking. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, then this character gains plus 2k power until the start of your next turn. So he becomes a 5k attacker after 1 attack, and then a 7k attacker after the second attack, which is really powerful as well. The hand size limit is something that is a bit of a probably managing factor, so that after you return a card to your hand, sometimes it means that you can't just swing so hard. So you'll need to have to manage your hand size in order to keep him active. Next is the 2 cost Pudding. The 2 cost Pudding is 2k counter, and other than that, activate main, you may return this card to your hand. So the effect doesn't seem that powerful at the beginning, but I will show you the synergy it has with the Ivankov as well as the Zeph later. So on that note, we're talking about the new 5-cost Zeph as well. So when I first saw this card, I thought it would be a little bit underwhelming, but once I actually tested it out, I thought it was pretty good in the end. So the reason for it is the effect is on play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then return them in your desired order. And then after that, when attacking, you may review the top card of your deck, and then if it is a cost 2 character, you can play it on the board. And then this is not a once per turn effect, so if you restand it with your leader, you can play now another 2 costs from the top of your deck. So the curve would be, on your 5 dawn turn, you put down the Zeph and look at the top 3 cards. The next turn you draw the top card, and then if the next 2 cards are both 2 costs, you can attack with Zeph, play down the first 2 costs, use your leader effect to restand, and bounce that first 2 costs, and then play the second 2 costs. So if that second 2 costs is a pudding, you can play it down and then return it straight to your hand. So Zeph was essentially a draw 2 basically, which makes it really, really powerful. Alright, on that note, the other new card as well, we also have 3-cost Mihawk. I think everyone has seen the shenanigans you can get up to with this card and Film Uta, especially the Film Brook. Right now in this deck, its only real target is the 4-cost Zoro, but it is 2k counter, so I'm still running it. So the main use case for this is on the 3 dawn turn, you're going to play it down, and then play down the 4-cost Zoro, and then you attach 1 to leader, bounce whatever 2-cost unit you play on turn 1, and then restand the Zoro as active. So that's the usual use case for him. His effect is, of course, if you have 2 or less things on your board, including this character, then you may play a 4-cost slash character from your hand as rested. 4-cost or lower slash character from your hand as rested, or something with the Shikiaru Kingdom trait. So this is another of our 2k counters, so we'll put it beside the pudding here for now. Next, we're running the 2-cost Film Chopper. So this is just another 2-cost and it's also 2k counter. You can also run the Apu depending on the meta, but I think because of Red Green Law being meta as always, this card is really, really good. You can attack with it, rest a weenie, and then after that bounce it. So that's really strong. So that wraps up our 2k counters. And then for the other 2-costs, we're also running the 2-cost Roshinante blocker. I quite like this card as a way to help protect your Sanji as well as some of your other units after you've attacked with them. So it is pretty good. And another of our big beaters is Yamato. The OP01 SEC Yamato is pretty strong in my opinion. I think the fact that you can use the double attack banish for 7k twice in 1 turn is really, really good. So on the 5 dawn turn, you would play down Yamato, for example, and then the next turn you would attach to 7k swing, and then use your leader effect, restand and 7k swing again for at least 3k counter or 2 lives burnt, which is really, really powerful. Another option that I did consider in this slot was the 4-cost Film Vanilla Zoro, just because the stat line is a little bit bigger and it does synergize with the Mihawk as well. But right now I wanted to test the double banish Yamato and see how good it is, especially where NL is really strong and other decks other than Luffy and Sakazuki don't have that much of a means to remove Yamato. Uta could maybe use double backlight, but that's quite a bit of investment as well just to remove the Yamato, so I think we would also be okay with that. Next is Ivankov, the other one more new card from the new ST12. Ivankov's effect is on play. You may review the top card of your deck, and if it's a 2-cost, you may play it down. And if it isn't a 2-cost, you can put it at the top or the bottom of your deck. So it allows you to also stack your deck in a way, although it's just the 1 card and you do review it to the opponent. The last two, a few other cards that I'm running, I realize I still have some cards in here. A few other cards I'm running are the 2-cost Sugar. I know some decks would be running Nekomamushi instead, but I like Sugar because it hits 4 costs instead of 3 costs, so it allows you to hit the 4-cost blockers, as well as for Uta you can hit the not just the Nami but also the Brook. Against NL you can hit the Dog, you can hit Sanji blocker. Against Luffy you can hit the Law blocker or Uta blocker, all of which are really, really powerful blockers. Then being able to take out with this Sugar is really strong. So you would just play down the Sugar and then use your leader effect to immediately send her back to your hand after you have attacked with something else, for example, which is really, really powerful in my opinion. And then lastly is Duval. I think this is a really strong blocker. 2 cost, looks at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then that's pretty much it. But just using this in your first turn is really powerful because it sets you up for Ivankov, it also sets you up for Zeph, and in general I just like the ability to look at the top 3. It's also a blocker, of course, so it can also still be useful in the later stages of the game. Next, I have the 2 copies of Red Rock. I think this is just good in terms of removal because this deck doesn't have very big bodies in general, other than the Doflamingo. So having a way to remove larger bodies is really good, especially at any cost line. So even 9 cost, 10 cost units you're able to get rid of. For example, for Purple Luffy, if he drops the 9 cost Kaido, you can drop this, get rid of it, and still have 4 Dawn used to swing with your bodies on your board. And then the last one-off card that I'm running as a little bit of a spicy tech is the Rush Usopp. So Rush Usopp is a pretty funny card to run. It can help you with hitting lethals, of course, so you can really surprise people with it. So just nice, if you play down Rush Usopp and you attach 2 Dawn to him, you swing 7. If you don't have another unit on board, you can drop a 2 cost unit, so that leaves you with exactly 2 Dawn left. And then your leader can swing 7, bounce your 2 costs, and then restand your Usopp and swing 7 again. If you have another unit on the board, of course, you can swing with the Usopp for 7 2 times, and then you can swing with Usopp for 7, then swing with the other unit, and then swing with your leader, and then swing with the Usopp for 7 again to bounce that unit. So really, I like it as a one-off. I think it's a very cute kind of surprise tech, especially as a green leader. People don't really expect you to have that rush unit, so it can really catch someone off guard if they aren't really prepared for it. So instead of running the 4th Doflamingo, I'm trying to run this card instead, and I'm testing the deck still, seeing how it goes. I've tested it a little bit into Katakuri as well as the Purple Luffy. It's actually really powerful into Purple Luffy if you're able to get the 2 cost Sanji on board turn 1, because with the 2 cost Sanji you're able to attack for 668 on turn 2, which is really powerful. Because, so let me pull out the 2 cost Sanji. Okay, so with the 2 cost Sanji on the board on turn 2, sorry, on your 2 Dawn turn, the next turn you would have 5 cards in hand if you had countered your opponent's hit, and then you can swing with 1 Dawn attached for 6. Then you play down your other 2 cost. So in this case, it would hopefully be Duval or the Sugar to rest whatever unit they had. And then after that, restand the Sanji with your leader by swinging 6. And then the Sanji swings again and he plus 2s again. So he swings for 8. So you're able to swing 6, 6, 8 on the 4 Dawn turn, which is impossible for almost any other deck to do. And you also get a 7k body on the board, which is really powerful. Alternatively, you can also play, of course, the Mihawks or the Ivankov, and then you can play down Duval or any of the other 2 costs that you see on the top of your deck, or the Mihawk can play down the 4 cost Zoro. I think it's actually really powerful. If this Rush Usopp card was Slash, that would have been even funnier, because you could play him down with the Mihawk too. Unfortunately, it's not. There's a few other promo cards like the promo Zoro and the promo Luffy that I've seen a few other deck lists trying to run. At the moment, I do just want to focus on beatdown as well as building as many 2 costs on the board as possible so that I can continuously use my leader effect. The board states have been really hilarious if you get the Zeph on board and he manages to stick for a couple of turns. And against yellow, like NL for example, the Yamato is actually really crucial in order to help you with removing the life and banishing as well, and denying any triggers that they may have. So these are basically the lines that you kind of expect from the Zoro and Sanji leader. It will really be very aggro focused. It will be hitting you for 6 and 7s many times in each turn. And for me, because I'm also running the Sugar, generally I am focusing on the opponent's board first. So whatever they play down, I'll try to Sugar and then I'll attack into it. So I think it will be very powerful against decks like Red Green Law as well as Uta, because you're able to deny them hand size by consistently hitting into their board instead of just hitting characters. Instead of just hitting their life. I think especially with the 10 cost Doflamingo as well, there's a reasonable amount of top end, and it might even be a reasonable choice to swap these for the 8 cost kit, so I'll continue to test this out and see which is better as well. And you do still have some removal, although limited, in the form of the Red Rock. I was testing Mihawk as well, the 9 cost Mihawk, but I felt like he was a little bit too slow. I never really felt like I wanted to really cast him down. Although it can be funny to do like a 4 cost removal and then after that return it to hand and then cast it again in the same turn. So if there is a card that does that, I would also consider. I also wanted to try the OP01 X Drake card in this slot in order to deal with Uta as well as NL. So for Ohm and the dog, as well as for Red Green Law, you're able to handle the Rush Zoro. For Sakazuki, you can hit the Lucci, things like that. So X Drake would also be a reasonable option in this slot. So these are the two slots that I'm really testing out the most, I think. So the Yamato as well as the Doflamingo. I think everything else is actually very solid. I wouldn't really change anything in particular. Before I was testing the Mihawk, I was just using Apu in that slot, so I had an additional 2k counter. Because really for Mihawk, I don't really have that many options to play down with him, but when I do have both of these in hand, it does feel pretty nice, because I can just basically cheat out my Zoro for a Dawn cheaper, which is nice too. So on the 4 down turn, for example, instead of just playing the Zoro hard cast, I will be able to play the Mihawk into the Zoro and then bounce my 2 cost or bounce the Mihawk, so I get an additional Dawn of Efficiency to hit with. For another take on this deck list, I would recommend you check out Noah Nyan's video. YT Noah channel, his video is probably linked up here. Sorry, up here. I saw his video. He's running a little bit more on the film version with more straw hats and film cards instead. I think that is also a viable strategy and option into playing it. He's also running the Ippon Matsu, which I also wanted to test a little bit. For now, I think the idea of double banish, double swing is a lot funnier, so I am testing this for now. But it is really a fun deck. I definitely recommend you try it if it comes out on Sim eventually, or if you already are in the Asian meta, of course, and you have access to the cards. Definitely try out this deck. It is a blast to play, and I'm really having a lot of fun with it. All that being said, thank you friendos and randos for coming. If you enjoyed it, make sure to, of course, leave a like and sub to the channel, as well as share with your friends. Let them know how funny this deck can be. If I get the time, I will try to upload some gameplay of this deck as well. And thank you guys again for coming. Have a great day ahead and peace out. Bye bye.